Hello folks, today is Friday, September 6th, 2024. As usual, my name is Jake Baldino, here to talk about all the video game news that has been going on this week. We're in the office, it's been a while. We're back. Yay! Here we are. So there's a lot to talk about this week. The first thing, with it being September 6th, it is officially Concord shutting down day. If you missed the news, I know this has probably been talked to death now at this point, but Sony and developer Firewalk Studios did put out a statement earlier this week announcing that Concord is no more, at least for now. They said in the post that it didn't quite land like how they were hoping and that they are offering refunds. This comes after, of course, the game being kind of like the running joke in gaming news and sites and stuff for having a really, really low player count. And yes, I will say that this is a failure on a pretty historic level when you think about just how short the window was here. It was only 2 weeks. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before, anything that quick. And it's fascinating from like a video game history and business perspective. What were they thinking here? It was a game that didn't release, like it wasn't like a glitchy disaster or like buggy or anything, like it had to be taken down from the store or anything. It was just like, just didn't appeal to anyone. So this is where we're at, but there are still a lot of questions for the future. Is Sony going to try and salvage Concord into something else, like make it into a free-to-play thing? That's going to take some time. I wonder if that's what they're going to do, or are they going to try and just completely sweep it under the rug and it's just a tax write-off for them? Who knows? I am not a business person. I have no idea. But there's also been a lot of speculation of Concord showing up in the secret level. The thing from the people behind Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots and Tim Miller. Like a lot of different cool video game IP being featured in that, like Mega Man, God of War, a bunch of cool shit, and then also Concord. People are like, is Concord still going to be in this? According to sources from IGN, it is when it does drop, but we'll just have to wait and see. I did say this in another video, but like I am jealous of the people that do have physical copies of this. While yes, you can go and get a refund if you want, depending on your retailer, I would like to hold on to a copy of that just because of the video game history of it. A physical game that only really existed for 2 weeks. It's insane. So let me know what you think about this whole debacle. Everybody's going to have an opinion for sure in the comments. But spinning off of that, interestingly enough, Sony head, or new Sony head, who has replaced Jim Ryan, which some people are saying, was Jim Ryan the mastermind behind this whole Concord disaster, or did he try and get out while the getting was good? Either way, Hiroki Totoki did do a recent interview, separately, unrelated to Concord, talking about the fact that they don't have enough IP or intellectual property, their own iconic characters and things they've created, which I think is absolutely insane. What? Whether it's newer PlayStation stuff from like the last 5 years or so, lots of new stuff that we've all seen, but also from the history. Sony is, of course, celebrating like 30 years now of PlayStation. There are so many incredible things that they've made throughout the years that people are still begging for them to bring back. So to hear this kind of statement from a new leader at the company feels a little tone deaf and a little troublesome, but talk is one thing. I'm curious to see the actions behind this. Are they going to continue to invest in new IP? They tried with Concord. That fell flat, but I hope that doesn't get in the way of them trying in other ways. Like, the money and resources and time wasted on Concord hopefully doesn't impact or affect them still trying new ideas and new things. But we'll see. We'll be talking more about PlayStation and like the 30th anniversary and stuff like that later in the video. But over on to Xbox, a pretty interesting interview with Phil Spencer recently. It was on the lighter side, more casual conversation at PAX West. And in this interview, Phil Spencer did admit some mistakes, specifically passing on games. Some of you guys might find this interesting, especially people who've been paying attention to this stuff for a while. If you like video game industry history, Phil Spencer says he specifically regrets passing on games when being on like the publisher producing side, passing on things like Bungie's Destiny, as well as Guitar Hero, two things that ended up with Activision, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. I linked the whole interview. If you want to check it out, it'll be in the description down below, as well as everything else I talk about this week. But I just think it's an interesting scenario scenario, like a what if scenario, if Xbox had started with Bungie and Destiny, or started with things like Guitar Hero. Could you even imagine? Even though it's really funny now, it all came full circle because now Microsoft and Xbox owns anything anyway. Next up, this is news also coming from the PAX West convention. Little bits of Borderlands 4 details. I know some people have been looking for this stuff considering the teaser didn't really show us much other than that the game is coming. Well, what we were able to hear from the developers, some basic things, but essentially 4 all new Vault Hunters and a lot more world and biome diversity in the game, but also doubling down on those distinct Vault Hunters as actual characters and what makes them interesting, but also mechanically as well, giving each Vault Hunter and each separate class more RPG depth. Apparently they said that they wanted to switch it up and not just do quote-unquote rote designs like a soldier, a mage. They're trying to rethink things and do things a little bit differently, and I do think that Borderlands is a brand or a game that could use that innovation and really spearhead some interesting character class change-ups for, you know, these types of looter shooter RPG style games. Still, we'll just have to wait and see. We don't know when we're actually going to see Borderlands, but I thought some of that stuff was interesting, so if you want to read that, like I said, all this is linked down there. Hey, next up, this episode is brought to you by our longtime sponsor, Raycon. So if you are new around here, all you gotta know is that Raycon gives you a premium quality wireless audio at about half the price of those other big name brands. But now we have the new and improved version. Updates include a more ergonomic design, multi-point connectivity, as well as active noise cancellation. And these things fit great in your ear. They don't fall out. The new version is awesome, but the charging carrying case still fits right in your pocket. It's easy, portable, but it's got new weatherproof features, IP66, so for me, when I'm exercising outside, going for a run, caught in the rain, or getting sweaty, these things are fine. But also, if you want to keep these puppies nice, Raycon offers protective carrying case covers. You can kind of express yourself a little bit. This is the concrete version, and it's nice. It slips right on, but it still feels sleek, and you can still do wireless charging with the case, so there's no compromises. They're great. They're good for gifts. I always keep a pair in my bag ready to go. So if you want to check them out, now is definitely the time with this new and improved version. All you got to do is head to buyraycon.com/gameranx for 15% off your first Raycon purchase, as well as free shipping. So once again, that's buyraycon.com/gameranx. Check that out. And big thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. But also, Silent Hill 2, the release is right around the corner. Like I said, it's things like things are looking up for it a little bit. The recent round of press and YouTuber previews came away fairly positive, but from the developer's Bloober Team's account saying, looking for the most immersive way to play Silent Hill, you're going to be able to turn off all UI elements. And then that they also have a 90s filter with film grain effect, color correction, and screen adjustments to quote unquote complete the old school experience. Good. That is something I want, and I'm curious to see how effective that is. But also, as a Metal Gear fan and a Konami game fan, I am looking at this and seeing how they implement this and see how this works, considering Metal Gear Solid 3, that remake, Delta, has also stated that they're going to go for like kind of a retro filter option type thing as well. I'm still skeptical, but I hope this is good. I want Silent Hill to have a big comeback. I want it to be a thing again, and I'm really trying to cram in a playthrough of the original Silent Hill 2 before we get our hands on this. Fingers crossed for me. Another announcement that slipped under some people's radar, but I think it's going to be very significant, is the announcement of Balatro for mobile. This, what do you call this? Like a deck builder game? Like a blackjack hand builder game? With like a weird clown in it.
It's like poker meets solitaire, but it's also video games.
Poker meets solitaire, but also it's video games. Thank you, Andrew. Perfect. So this game has been a big deal on the platforms it's already released on, like PC, Switch and stuff. People have been addicted to it. This game is the talk of the town. I tried it. I'm personally not into like card games, so like it didn't really land for me. I'm also dumb and I barely know what a poker hand is, but I can't deny that like everybody around me is absolutely hooked on this thing. So with it coming to mobile, I think it's over for you degenerates. I think people are going to be really hooked on this. This is coming out September 26th, and I would say keep an eye on it. What I'm curious to see is how much mainstream adoption it gets. You think sometimes when games like this come to mobile, it really gets embraced by more people because so many people are on mobile. So I'm curious to see how that goes, because the game itself definitely is a winning formula.
When this comes to mobile, I'm straight
Good luck. Great. See you see you never. Quidditch Champions dropped for all my old heads who were fans of Quidditch World Cup back in the day. Played through that whole thing on GameCube. So yeah, new full-featured Quidditch game, which they also announced you can get the PS1 Hagrid meme face as a player in the game. I like that. That's funny. Also, don't miss Space Marine 2. It is technically dropping now, but it's awesome. I played through this. I love it. Check out my before you buy for it. Like I said in that video, I think it's what video games should be. It's a good, fun, thrilling third-person action campaign with some cool multiplayer on the side that is actually interesting, something you want to play. It doesn't feel like this big, cynical Fortnite skin thing. It's just a regular, old-fashioned, straight-up, fun action game. And it's just what I was looking for, so it just hit me really good. So I said it in that video, but I am now officially a Warhammer fan. Thank you for having me. Also, good games this week. You know, as much as like the industry news is gloom and doom, the games are good. Astro Bot is now out. This is only on PS5, but this is an incredible platformer. Probably one of the best platformers I've played in many, many years, which I know is big, but yeah, this is something else. It's got a lot of PlayStation nostalgia, but also just video game industry nostalgia. It goes past just first-party PlayStation stuff, and it's just thrilling, entertaining, and fun. If you got younger brothers or sisters or like kids or whatever, jump on it with them, show it to them. But again, you may be a more cynical gamer, you may be burnt out, but I think this game will make you smile. I think it'll give you a little bit of that joy, which sounds corny. I sound like totally like cheesy right now, but I think that's kind of what we all need sometimes, you know? Now, one other interesting thing is PlayStation celebrating its 30th anniversary. Now, they announced some little things with it, including, for me, the thing I found the most interesting was like releasing some old game soundtracks on modern music streaming services, like the old God of War tunes and the score and stuff like that. I am about that. But the thing that really made headlines is that Sony may have possibly leaked the actual look of the PS5 Pro. Now, we talked about this image leak last week from somebody who kind of did a sketch of what it will look like. And now, in PlayStation's own graphics for the 30th anniversary, little bits of all the old consoles and stuff in the background, some eagle-eyed people spotted a design that looks very much like that. Is this the PS5 Pro? Did they essentially show this here? I'd say it seems pretty likely. This lines up with that other design. It's not like completely out of this world, like a completely different design. We knew that the PS5 Pro was going to kind of keep a similar look, but now maybe with these three ridges. So yeah, I'd say this is just even more confirmation that this is probably what it's going to look like. The big question still on everybody's mind is, when are they announcing this sucker? The newest rumors and everything suggest that we're going to get it by the end of this year, but when is it going to be announced? People are thinking not Tokyo Game Show, but maybe around Tokyo Game Show, like a separate little streamed event. We'll just have to wait and see, though. There's always also news headlines and stuff about the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal happening soon. So I don't know what's going on, but a lot of new stuff is coming, but we just don't know when exactly. Still with that, that's the gaming news going on this week. We got to get back to work. We got to get back to playing some really good games. But let me know what you think in the comments about everything, from Phil Spencer lamenting missing out on getting behind some games early on the Xbox side, to, of course, the debacle of Concord. Are you one of the few people that enjoyed Concord, or are you one of the many people who were just not interested in it? Let me know what you think. Let me know like your perspective on the business side of things. What's Sony going to do now? Are they going to try and keep it going somehow, or are they just going to let that multiple years of development and like $100 million just go to waste? Let's talk about that stuff. Let's talk about the new games releasing. Let us know what you're playing. And of course, the pinned comment under this video, let us know in that thread what you're currently playing for research, so we know what you guys are up to, so we can help make videos that might interest you. But that's really it. If you want to yell at me directly, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube at Jake Baldino. But that's it. All I ask is have a great weekend. Be safe. Be well. Pizza's on me.